Hey guys. Oh.
Yeah, hey guys, Philip Society have a speaker coming in on the 15th of June. His name is Nick McCaw, and he's an entrepreneur and business owner. He owns many nightclubs such as Saturdays and AV, and burger joints such as Better Burger and a franchise in Mexico.
I'm looking straight at that wall.
Come along to the talk on Wednesday, the 15th of June at 1 p.m. Come along to the talk on Wednesday, the 15th of June at 1 p.m. in the Lecture Theatre. He's going to give us great insight into how he's created successful businesses and how to manage them effectively. And if you love Saturdays as much as Nat Moore, it'd be great to see you there on Wednesday. Cheers, Nat. come along to the talk on Wednesday, 15th of June at 1 p.m. in the Lecture Theatre. He's going to give us great insight into how he's created successful businesses and how to manage them effectively. And if you love Saturdays as much as Tisdall does, it'd be great to see you there. Cheers.
Chamber. Are you guys all in chamber?
Bro, I should get that too.
From that side or from this side? Doesn't matter. It's fine.
Right. First row because no one can push. No, first row because then no one can push you.
Where the front row used to be.
Oh, we're the chamber, so we can see.
Oh yeah, we're the chamber.
Just as long as we're in the front row. It was. No, because the first thing we need, it's like this side of the
Yeah.
School, please stand.
Kia ora whānau, please take a seat. I'd just like to start today's assembly by acknowledging the students who contributed to the Matariki celebrations last evening. They were supreme, and it was just so good to have the students there along with about 180 visitors, and the vibe was just really exciting, and it was a great celebration of Matariki, which you know is coming up nationally for us on the 24th of June at the end of this month. So firstly, a thank you to those students who gave so well to last night's celebration. You did a fine job. Thank you. Today I wanted to speak really briefly before the rest of the assembly continues just about time management. I put out a general invitation in a very brief form to your parents last week in my From the Desk on Fridays that I send to your parents on Fridays, and I've had quite a few responses to that already. And I know that you're at a time where things are pressured. You're in the winter season, you're in the winter months, internal assessments are running, you're free now of some quite significant events, and the focus in on the academics and what charges at us at the end of term 3 will probably be well in your minds right now, let alone our own internal school examinations. So I thought that I'd put to you today the opportunity, if you're interested, and I have a number of names already, then I'll just wait outside assembly, just over outside the door, and if you'd like to pop your name down, we can do something really effectively for you in terms of managing your time, doing things well, on time, by due date, and having a life of your own as well for relaxation and sport and other things that interest you. I'll focus on urgency versus importance, and I'll also focus on a book I've been reading recently called The Stolen Focus, which talks about essentially how technology can distract your attention over and over and over and over again. And in fact, some research says that the brain actually can't multitask. It has to switch between activities and loses time and energy in doing all that switching all of the time. And I'd quite like to also, in that time management session, offer some thoughts about focus and actually how you can get a really productive 50 minutes out and do some really effective time management and use the time effectively as well as you do that. So look, if you're interested, I'll take some names outside the hall there. You can slip by and I'll take your names, and those who are interested, I'm happy to run a single session of about 15 or 20 minutes only at a time that suits you, and maybe give you some tips and tricks that will help you along the way. Good afternoon. Where does Paulette?
Thank you, Headmaster. We are lucky enough today to have 2 musical items, and to introduce those, I'd like to invite Cole Barfoot onto the stage.
Good afternoon, headmaster, staff and students. Next week, our choirs are competing at the Big Sing Regional Festival at Auckland Town Hall. Today, they will present one of their pieces each to help prepare for the competition. First, we have the King's College Chamber Choir, who will be singing a Swedish song called O Jungfrun. Then all the King's Men will sing a song by Orban called Daemon. Your support today is essential, with this as their only chance to perform in front of an audience before the competition. We wish our choirs all the best for this important contest where we are up against some fierce competition in making it to the Nationals later in the year. Our conductor is Mr. Stephen Rapana, Director of Choirs for the college. Huertas Pole.
two absolutely wonderful performances, and I'm sure I have all of your support in offering both groups our very best wishes for the Big Sing. We move now to news from the Phillips Society, and I'd like to invite Toby Tasker and William Old onto the stage.
Hey guys, the Phillips Society have a speaker coming in on the 15th of June. His name is Nick McCaw, and he owns and runs multiple well-known nightclubs such as Saturdays and AV, and also places such as Better Burger and the Mexico franchise.
Come along to the talk on Wednesday, the 15th of June at 1 p.m. in the Lecture Theatre. He's going to give us great insight into how he's created successful businesses and how to manage them effectively. We've spoken to Will Tisdall, and he'll definitely be there because we all know how much he loves Saturdays. Cheers.
It's now my pleasure to invite Deputy Head Prefect Adam Wong onto the stage to speak to us.
What is resilience? The Oxford Dictionary defines resilience as the ability of people or things to recover quickly after something unpleasant, such as shock or injury, etc. But what does this mean? The answer to this lies, as many answers seem to, in physics. The physics definition of resilience is the ability of a substance or object to spring back into shape. Picture this. When a spring is pushed down and released, what happens? The spring bounces back and regains its shape instantly. The spring is showing resilience. Life is tough. Life is hard, and at times it's unfair. Life will throw you all kinds of punches again and again, and you're gonna need to be able to roll with these punches and get back up after being knocked down. A bad run of common tests, a season-ending injury, or any goal that you simply couldn't achieve. Having resilience gives you the ability to learn from mistakes and failure, to become stronger mentally and physically. It prepares you for whatever life throws you next by allowing you to be the spring that bounces back stronger time and time again. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I would not be standing in front of you today if it weren't for resilience. I would not be the person I am if I didn't have the strength to get back from the tough experiences I've had to face. These are two stories which demonstrate how this characteristic has shaped my life. My very first memory of this world is one I would not wish upon anyone else, but it has shaped in every way in which I carry myself to this day. I recall vividly every part of that terrible morning. I recall waking up to my mother telling me calmly to stay in the lounge watching TV away from my little brother's bedroom. I recall the paramedics, the ambulance, my brother's innocent closed eyes as he lay down for his last nap. Why is it that I don't remember anything else from my childhood? I was 4 years old at the time, and this single event was so defining that it takes up the whole memory bank of my first 5 years of life. For years, I struggled. I imagined what life would be like if my brother was still around. Cameron James Wong would be sitting here in the Great Hall today. He would have been on stage with me at Spark Arena at House Music. He'd be struggling through AS Maths, and he'd be downloading the Road Code app so he could get his learners on his 16th birthday. I can't remember the number of times I cried at night. However, I've learned that it's all right to cry. Resilience is not about ignoring and bottling up your emotions. It's about embracing them. You have to move on eventually, but you'll never be able to do this if you don't allow yourself to shed a tear or two. Some time passed, and my family started a new chapter in life, both moving into a new house and, more significantly, welcoming another baby boy into this world. My new little brother Harrison played a huge part in helping me move on with my life and understand resilience. Harrison is the light in my life. He is the most special, unique, and amazing individual I've ever met. There is no one like Harrison. No, I will never get the chance to tear it up on the Small House stage with my little brother, but he has brought me so many other happy memories. Seeing Harrison grow up into the incredible person he is now has taught me something especially important. No matter how bad things may seem, they will always get better in time. In other words, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Life is full of surprises, and you never know what is waiting around the corner. I believe that this is the key part of understanding resilience. In the more recent part of my life, when I've been down in the dumps, it is the knowledge that I won't be down forever that gets me back up. Let me stress the use of the word knowledge here. No matter how tough things get, I can tell you for certain that things will get better. They always get better. When I found out I was going to speak to the whole school, I knew I had to talk about resilience. Like I said, it has defined me my whole life. While it was in the cards for me to experience a terrible event that would teach me about resilience, this isn't the case for everyone. And the one thing I wasn't sure how I would communicate to the school was how to develop resilience. I pondered this for a while, and the answer came to me when I least expected it. Over the April holidays, I flew down to Palmerston North to a New Zealand Business Week program called The Brave Thinkers, where I met a motley crew of motivated, driven Year 12 and 13 students from all over the country. Over 5 days, a handful of us complete strangers became close friends. It was the closest thing I've experienced to the Breakfast Club, if you're knowledgeable on 80s films. This culminated in a legendary all-nighter on the final night. That night, we stayed up until the early hours of the morning just chatting. It started out as just a casual yarn, talking about what our lives were like back home in all the different places we were from. But as the night went on, our conversation journeyed through a roller coaster ride of emotions. There was a distinct aura of trust in our dorm room, and we started opening up about our deepest fears and our most traumatic experiences. This made me realize something important. Everybody goes through tough times. Everyone has their own problems and challenges. However, it wasn't just sad stories that I heard. I heard stories of triumph, of how these boys overcame the hills they've had to climb, and how they came out on top. This was inspiring and made me feel so supported and so strong. It made me believe that I could be just like these boys and climb my own mountains too. The next day, I found out I wasn't the only one who'd woken up feeling empowered. Another boy, who was a bit of a shy personality, told us about how a traumatic event in his early high school career had ruined him, permanently stripping him of his confidence and self-belief. He told us that, apart from his best friend back home, we are the only people he'd told about this experience, and that we are now a part of the catalyst that is sparking him to regain his confidence and return back to his true self. Hearing these words was something unparalleled to anything I've heard before. It made me realize that being open and talking about our problems with people we trust can both make ourselves and others feel supported, making us feel like we have the strength to recover and be resilient. Our generation as a whole is in need of a bit of resilience. Social media and the fact that our problems follow us home after school are a reason for this. So, If we start opening up and sharing with our friends, as a generation, we will give each other the strength to make like a spring in a physics experiment and bounce back from anything that life throws at us. Just like the song goes, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Word to Split.
Thank you, Adam, for sharing those really personal stories with us today. Lots in there and lots of really important messages for, I think, everybody to take away, consider and ponder. So thank you again, Adam. School, please stand. Please have a seat, folks.
Hey guys, the boys' first 11 hockey team have their Grammar game next week. We'd really appreciate some support. The game's obviously at Grammar and it's at 6:45 p.m. So yeah, love to see you there. Cheers.
First team boys have a big game this weekend against St. Kitts. 2:30 Saturday at Kent as well. So it'd be good if we get a big crowd out there, just get ready with our chants and tell them doing it well.
All right, folks, just a couple of minutes of your time from me. And I want to, in the first instance, thank some of you who I am thanking sincerely but also gently ribbing at the same time. I'm doing so safe in the knowledge that I'm not going to mention any names here, so I'm not drawing attention to you. But thank you for cheering up my day, and I'll give you some context for that. You will probably remember last week, those of you who are in here, and I know some were in the lecture theatre and some of you will have been away, but I mentioned in assembly that we are just tweaking our attendance systems because with COVID times, our unexplained absences unfortunately had risen to a point where we just couldn't tolerate that anymore. I'm still to send a communication to your parents out, that's coming. I've spoken to staff, and I spoke to all students in assembly last week. But I knew that I would not capture a full audience, and so I sent an email to every single one of you, and the email essentially said, this is what we're doing with our system, and this is why we're doing it. Then I said, if you get an email that says, hey, you had an unexplained absence at this period or these periods, these are the things that you need to do. It's all captured again in the email. And then I finished the email by saying, but hey, there's actually a couple of things you could do to avoid getting that email in the first place. And they're really simple stuff like, obviously be where you're meant to be at the time you're meant to be there. But failing that, if you're not in a place and you get the, if you're not in a place you're meant to be, sign in or out. So really, really simple. Okay. Or if you turned late to a lesson, rather than go to the lesson late, go to attendance first, get your slip, everything will be taken care of. So just some hints and tips. And then I thought, and this is probably my mistake, I thought it would be useful for all of you to see what that email might look like in advance of receiving one. And in there, it actually said, you've been absent, because it's a template email, you've been absent from this lesson, and I put my own name down, mathematics period 6. Now what that's meant is that probably about 40 people have either written to me or my PA or the attendance folk, a little bit confused about that mathematics period 6. Confused that they're not in my class, and that there's no maths going on in period 6. That did give me a chuckle, not as much of a chuckle as the person in my maths class who not only claimed to have been in that lesson, but recounted what actually happened in period 6. So thank you to all of those folks. I know that you were just giving me a laugh, and I really appreciate it. I would encourage you, it's probably the longest email you've received all year. I'd encourage you to look through it so that you know where we're coming from and what you have to do. But there are some very simple things that you can do to ensure you don't get that email at all. The last thing I'll say is, and it's repeating what I said last week, I genuinely don't sit there and type these emails out by hand or even copy and paste. They're all automatically generated. So if you do receive one and you're genuinely confused, I would encourage you to either forward it to the person involved or to me, but make sure you forward it so we know what you're talking about. Please don't just say, I promise I was there, or I don't know what you're talking about. All of that said, folks, I think we can wrap up today. So if I could ask all of you folk to leave in an orderly manner.